Hi friends, I live in the Middle East and I serve as an elder of a local church in the region, and I lead a university student ministry here. And I want to tell you why campus ministry overseas is so strategic for the gospel going to the nations. Growing up in the Middle East, I heard the gospel when I was a student on my campus. And it was actually from some Americans who had moved here for the purpose of reaching college students with the gospel. They recognized rightly that college students are at a stage in their life when they are most open to considering the gospel. And that was my story. I put my faith and trust in Jesus when I was a freshman student in my university here. In my experience, college students are less cynical than older people. They are open to having conversations and asking questions about their faith. College students are willing to consider departing from the ways of their parents, who have taught them a lot about God and what they should believe their whole lives. And in our experience, we have also found out that college students are less resistant than older folks to considering new ideas in their lives. On one of our campuses that we were trying to start new work on, a student and a staff were walking around trying to meet people and ask them if they would be interested in studying the Bible with them. And on one day, a young man they met was a man from Liberia who was from a Muslim background. And it so happened that this man had a dream about Jesus and was interested in studying the Bible when he was back in his country. But now that he was in the Middle East, he thought that he was going to have no opportunities to read the Bible for himself. So you can imagine how surprised he was when these students met him and invited him to read the Bible with them. It was not long after that he trusted in Christ, was baptized, and he joined a church here. You know, in America, you're very privileged to have easy access to the gospel. Most people know something about Christianity, or they are actively choosing to not know anything about it. But in many parts of the world, people never have that choice. People in many parts of the world go their entire lives without ever meeting a Christian or setting their eyes on a Bible. So we often hear questions like, what does the Bible look like? Or who wrote the Bible? Can I touch the Bible? You know, recently I was sitting down with a Muslim man who was explaining to me why he was so devoted to Islam. And when I asked him what his relationship with God was like, he said it was like a master and a slave. And when I told him that in Christianity, the relationship that we can have with God is like a father and a son, he said that he had never heard anything like that before. And he actually said that he could never comprehend having a relationship with God like that. You know, there are many things that we take for granted. Growing up in Christian homes or living in relatively Christian contexts. But when we go overseas, we feel the privilege that we have in knowing God. And God fills our heart with pity and compassion for so many that are lost and are perishing in darkness. The campuses are ripe with people who are open to hearing the gospel, but the laborers are few. There are some things that are same about university ministries in every part of the world, and some things that are different. In our experience, we have found that students are the best people to reach other students with the gospel of Jesus. And we have found that the best way to raise up student leaders who are bold with the gospel is to study the Bible with them. Now, many people will try to sell you gimmicks and tricks to grow your ministry, but the best students that we have are those who have spent countless hours studying the Bible and those who are plugged into healthy local churches where they are hearing the Bible being faithfully taught week in and week out. This should mark a student ministry in any part of the world. In our context, One of the biggest challenges that we face is gaining access to university campuses and students. Unlike America, you cannot just walk onto a campus and meet with students easily. Administrators and security guards are jealously guarding the gates to outside influence. And the students that we meet come from cultures where their parents exert a lot of control over their lives. So it makes it very difficult for us to be able to access students. It means that we have to be creative and constantly think of creative ways to gain access to campus and to meet with students. Sometimes it just means dressing more youthfully to blend in. But we have also been known to take some extremely difficult but creative ways and methods of being able to gain access to universities here. And in our context, whenever we have met students, even though it is difficult at first to get on campus, we have found that students are always eager to have spiritual conversations with us. It can seem like working with students in their teens and 20s to be a waste of time compared with people who are older and more mature and more experienced. But in our experience, we have found that getting to younger believers can be a huge investment for the local churches here. Young people have time, they have years when they can be discipled and trained before they start work, before they begin their families, before they even get married. And we have found that there are many young men and women who have come through the student ministry that are right now discipling others in the church and are supporting the leadership of the church so that there is more of a culture of discipleship and evangelism that happens in the church. I have also seen some of the men who have become Christians through the campus ministry go on to serve as elders in the churches in the region. One of the best ways to be involved in campus ministry is to consider doing a study abroad program for a year. One of the students that we know came here from America, and she enrolled herself in a university here, and she decided that she would open up her dorm room to other women and lead a Bible study with them over cups of tea. She enjoyed these encounters so much that she decided to extend her time in this university by another semester. Joining a university in a closed country like this will immerse you in the culture and the environment there, and it will also give you a sense of whether this is something you should pursue once you have graduated. If you do so, my encouragement is to make sure that you join a healthy local church, you submit to them, you learn from them, and if you do that, you will find that you will grow a lot during your time overseas.